If a bomb goes off in your neighborhood, killing hundreds of innocent people, you don't necessarily have to be affected by that. Now, I know you probably don't agree with me at all right now, but by the end of this video, you will. Now, I actually got this example from a book called Parallel Universes of Self. It's a good book, highly suggest you read, but not the topic right now. And I was like, okay, this person's fucking sick. What the hell? Just like you're thinking right now about me. Like, what the hell are you thinking? Of course, if a bomb goes off in my neighborhood, of course I would be affected. Of course I would be sad, fearful, whatever. Chaos. Now, you don't have to be any of those emotions if they don't resonate with you. If you're not in a state of fear, if you're not in a state of chaos, it's the law of correspondence. So the bomb going off, it only can affect you if you resonate with fear, with chaos, with maybe sadness. However, if you're only happy, if you're only grateful, if you're only in abundance, it doesn't have to necessarily resonate with you like that. Imagine it could maybe resonate with you with gratitude. Like I said, if you're grateful, gratitude, like, thank God, it didn't hit my family, or I didn't get affected by it, right? And so instead of fear, you're actually grateful. So imagine the person that's grateful for a bomb going off in their neighborhood and the person that's scared, that has fear. Now, two very different things, but you truly choose based on your inner state how you feel. You control how you feel. But however, a lot of people let reality control how they feel, and that's bad. This also gets into perception projection loop, which I will get into later in this video. However, the main idea of this video and what I want you to take away from this is you have direct control over your reality, and also you have direct control over attaining your goals, attaining your desires, right? Or achieving your desires, achieving your goals. Now, how? You're probably asking yourself, how? And it really all just comes down to manifestation. That's probably a word you know. Also, metaphysics, esotericism, probably words you don't know. I'll get into it. It also comes down to self-discipline, self-love. I'm going to talk about all these concepts, and you, by the end of this video, will be able to create your own reality and get on the path to attaining your desires, achieving your goals, and this video could change your life if you let it. I'm so ready for this video. There's gonna be so much sauce. You guys better be taking notes. Let's get into it, all right? So, first thing you need to understand is that there's no difference between you and between reality, okay? No difference. Write down U equals reality. Universe. Spell universe, not U-N-I, Y-O-U-N-I. Universe. Because you need to realize that you have direct control over your reality. Like I said with the bomb example, you have direct control over what you choose. Now, you can only control reality by first controlling yourself. Now, this gets into more of the self-improvement side of things, right? Everyone knows manifestation, and everyone thinks of meditations and visualizations and affirmations, but they don't think of discipline. They don't think of cold showers. They don't think of self-improvement, right? Because why would you? You would think that, oh, God has it for me. If I pray, if I meditate, if I get in silence, God is going to present these things for me. But then you guys go and scroll on TikTok and disrespect yourself, right? If you disrespect yourself, you're disrespecting reality. So really, self-improvement comes down to cutting out bad habits and then enforcing good habits, right? Because if you cannot discipline, right? This comes down to discipline. If you cannot discipline yourself, you're not going to discipline reality. If you can't change yourself, you can't change your reality. It all comes back to you. It all comes back to you, right? Any meditations, any affirmations, any visualizations only work because of you. Your imagination, your brain, it's you. And if you can't control yourself, if you can't get yourself right, then you cannot, you're gonna live a miserable life. It's plain and simple. You're not gonna achieve your goals. You're not gonna change reality. Plain and simple. Now, self-improvement, I could talk about this forever, okay? But simply, write this down. It comes down to, right, like I said before, cutting out bad habits and reinforcing good habits, right? Now, simply, that's what it is. However, it goes a lot more deeper than that, right? Now, if you just write that down, okay, write that down. Now, bad habits. Usually you know the bad habits, okay? Now, maybe it's watching TikTok. Maybe it's gooning, watching porn. Maybe it's you eat junk food. These are all the bad you know your bad habits, okay? Now, your bad habits originate from bad dopamine sources, okay? So, all this watching porn, watching TikTok, they give you cheap dopamine, okay? Now, what is dopamine? If you don't know what dopamine is, it is your brain's reward chemical, okay? When you get the idea to do something, right? Let's say you get the idea to scroll on TikTok, or you one scroll after the other, right? Dopamine has an effect on that. It kind of puts your brain into action so that you seek reward, okay? Now, to explain dopamine, most simple way, all right, when you scroll on TikTok, right? So you open the TikTok app and boom, you see the first video, your happiness jumps up, your dopamine spikes. You get a dopamine spike. Now let's say your dopamine's up here, it goes from baseline, which is down here, and then it jumps up to up here, right? You scroll on TikTok. Now, then it falls down because you lose interest in the video, okay? Now, it's lower than the baseline. It's lower than the baseline when it falls down. So like, okay, scroll again, boom. And then you get a spike again. But oh look, this spike, it wasn't as high as this spike. Now, this keeps going in a downtrend, scroll after scroll, and your dopamine, which your happiness, goes down and down and down. And so you wonder why you feel so dull, why you have no energy. That is why. Every time you participate in these bad dopamine activities, your baseline happiness goes down, 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 down. And your dopamine gets fucked, right? And you can't perform simple tasks, like try to work. Maybe you have homework. Maybe you're in high school or college and you have homework. Or maybe you just want to focus on a task and you can't even for an hour. You want to scroll on TikTok after 10 minutes because your brain can't focus because your brain doesn't have that dopamine. Your dopamine needs a reset. Now, this all does tie into manifestation and creating your own reality, but first you have to control yourself, as I said before. So don't worry, I'm gonna get into it, okay? Chill. Now, I wanna continue talking about dopamine reset, okay? Now, honestly, you need about a week, 2 weeks, a month to completely change your life in terms of getting off TikTok, stop watching YouTube, stop watching porn, stop jerking off, stop doing all these bad habits. Whatever it is for you, you know the bad habits, smoking, maybe drinking, anything like that. It takes a month. Now, this could also tie in to manifestation, and this could help you, cut these bad habits out, fix your attention span, and manifestation can help you with this, right? So some of the good habits can stem from manifestation habits as well. So I could talk about some manifestation habits. Now you say, okay, great, I know my bad habits, right? For an hour, okay, just get a pen, get a notebook for an hour, think about all the bad habits, write down all your bad habits. I'm telling you to do this right now. Don't be lazy, or do this later after you're watching this video, whatever. Write down all your bad habits and then say, I'm gonna stop these. Now, scribble those out and then write down the good habits I'm gonna tell you. And these can vary from person to person. There are good habits for everyone. I mean, some people like making their bed in the morning. I don't usually like making my bed in the morning, but it could be a good habit, all right? So what are some good habits, right? Let's say reading. Reading is very important. Learning, right? So reading, right? With TikTok, you know how TikTok, your dopamine spikes and it keeps going down in a downtrend. With reading, your dopamine goes up and up and up and up. Because it takes focus, this is a good word, right? There's instant gratification, there's delayed gratification. With TikTok, it's instant gratification, right? Every scroll is an instant hit. But with reading, it's delayed gratification. You have to read the words right? And you're getting the story, so your brain is getting some dopamine, but it's good form of dopamine. Or maybe it's not a story, maybe it's study, maybe you're interested in philosophy, something like that. And then your brain is getting reward for actually doing work. When you're scrolling on TikTok, your brain is getting no reward. Well, actually, your brain is getting reward for doing nothing. And that's the problem. That is the problem. That's how you have to think about it. You have to get reward through healthy things. Reading, going to the gym, walking, doing cardio, I don't know, going outside, right? Good habits. Those are some good habits. Now, also, good manifestation habits, right? If you want to manifest, okay? Meditation, extremely important in manifestation. When you meditate, when you're silent, this comes into spiritual, right? Silence, God gets contact, even silence, biblical verse, different than religious. Spiritual is different than religious. I get asked that a lot, but I'm not religious. I'm spiritual, believe in God, believe in infinite intelligence. However, we'll cover that later, okay? So, meditation, right? Now, when you're building these good habits, you're gonna wanna start off small, and you could also have a habit tracker. So, start off small, maybe with meditation, right? Do a minute, 2 minutes a day, because you're building the habit. So, a minute, it's easy. You don't need much discipline to do a minute, but you're building the habit, and you're gonna build yourself up. It goes a minute the first week, 2 minutes the next week, 5 minutes the next week, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and then it gets easier and easier. And then meditation, again, it's delayed gratification, just like with reading. And your happiness keeps going up and up and up, and you're focused. You get focused, and you don't have any brain fog, and you're not dull all the time, and you're energetic. And so those are certain things, like those are certain good habits. Now, some more good habits. I covered reading, meditation. Also, I'll get into visualizations with manifestation. I'll get into that later. This is more self-improvement part of the video. I'll get into manifestation and self-worth and self-love later. But any more? Going to the gym, right? Working out, very important. Going to the gym, again, delayed gratification. So you have to cut out those instant gratification habits and then reinforce them with delayed gratification. So all delayed gratification is you work for a long period of time, right? When you go to the gym, you're not just gonna instantly get buff in the gym after one workout, after doing one bicep curl. No, you're gonna have to go to the gym for years, and then you're gonna get built, okay? That's delayed gratification. It's not the instant dopamine hit you get from scrolling TikTok. It's not the instant dopamine hit you get from watching porn. So be conscious, be aware of these good habits, and then enforce them. And let me get into this. By enforcing these habits, you are teaching yourself discipline. You are teaching yourself self-trust. Because a lot of the time, we know our bad habits, we do them anyway. Because we feel that the pleasure we gain, right, from scrolling on TikTok is better than abstaining from it, right? But you actually don't know that because you never really tried it. Go without a week, go with 2 weeks, and you're like, oh my God, I used to scroll on TikTok for like 3, 4, 5 hours a day. That used to be me. 3, 4, 5 hours a day, scrolling TikTok, watching YouTube. Horrible. And then after like a week, after 2 weeks, you're gonna be like, how did I do that? And your brain is actually going to crave hard work. So that's what we're doing. We're rewiring our brain to crave hard work. Now, this also gets into self-trust. Now, this is more of the manifestation side of things. I feel like I covered most self-improvement, but I'll mention it later in the video as well. Now we're going to cover more manifestation, metaphysics, esotericism side of things. So this is exciting stuff. So first we're going to talk about self-worth. Now, by doing all these good habits and cutting out the bad habits, you are actually stacking up, right, your self-worth. And you're making yourself feel a lot better because you don't even realize it. But it's like every time you do something you know you should not be doing, your brain checks it off. Oh, he did this even though he said he's gonna do this. Oh, he picked up this pen even though he said he was gonna put it down. Stupid example. But like your brain keeps that in mind and then you start to trust yourself, right? This also gets into self-trust less and less. And if you don't trust yourself, you're not going to attain your desires, achieve your goals, create reality. Because, so also this gets into self-trust, not even self-worth, which is another thing I wanted to cover. I'll cover so a little bit into self-trust, right? So if you can't trust yourself, you cannot create your own reality. Now, why? So essentially, after this video, you're gonna start doing meditations, you're gonna start visualizations, and you're gonna get yourself onto the right frequency. Cover that later. And when you're on this right frequency, your intuition, your mental nudges are going to shift. It's going the intuition, the mental nudges. It's not gonna be like scroll TikTok. It's gonna be like read this book. It's gonna be watch this video. It's going to be study this, study that. It's gonna be good things. Now, this gets into infinite realities, and it's almost like your infinite self, the self of you in your desired reality, is speaking to you, because there are infinite realities. Everything you can imagine has happened. It plays out. Everything you can imagine. Why do you think God gave us the gift of imagination? To use that to our advantage, to create our reality. So pretty much, if you can imagine yourself getting rich, right? A lot of people want money. You say, tap into my millionaire self, right? And your millionaire self, in the infinite of realities, will give you mental nudges and the intuition on like the steps to get there. It's like you will get a step-by-step, and you have to trust yourself, right? Trust yourself, trust your intuition, trust your mental nudges, because trust, it's coming from the right place, which is your millionaire self in the infinity. Now, I was speaking about self-worth before. I got a little carried away on self-trust. However, self-trust is very important, okay? Now, you should be taking all these notes. I'm spitting right now, all right? So, self-worth. Now, you can only achieve your goals when you know you deserve them. Now, let's say one of your goals is to become a millionaire, right? Let's just say that. A lot of people want money, okay? Let's say your goal, attain money, okay? Now, if you don't think you deserve money, if you say, yeah, I mean, I don't really work that hard, I don't do this, I don't do that, and you're just scrolling on TikTok all day, that's the ceiling, right? That's the ceiling right there. Every time you actually try and you actually work hard, you get boom, and you're back down. Now, because your self-worth is low. Now, the self-improvement habits is building your self-worth. Now, also, what else is building your self-worth? You. You have to build your self-worth. You have to decide you are worthy. You have to decide that you deserve it, because you do. You deserve it. You have so much worth that you are unaware of. Now, a lot of it comes down to beliefs, and beliefs is big on frequency, okay? So actually, let me talk on frequency first. That's why I paused, because a lot of manifestation, it just really comes down to frequency. Now, what is frequency? So frequency is, let me think, it's your beliefs, it's your attention / focus, it's your perception, it's your conviction, it's your identity, it's your emotionally charged thoughts. Write all that down. That's a lot. I forgot how to look over there because it's on my wall. But so frequency is the most important thing to manifestation. Now, you have to pretty much, your frequency, right, is basically you have an old frequency, you have a new frequency. Okay, that's how I like to describe it, right? So let's say one of your goals, one of your realities is to get into shape, right? So this old frequency, this is the easiest, simplest way to explain it. You have an old frequency of you not in shape, not healthy. That's it, fat, maybe. That's your old frequency. You have a new frequency, you have to tap into a new frequency, which is you healthy, you in shape, you have a six-pack, you have everything you desire, right? And that is tapping into your infinite self and tapping into, right, your other reality where you are in shape, where you have that frequency, right? So let's say this old frequency is trying to get into shape, but they are still on a bad frequency. They still believe things that might not necessarily be a belief of this frequency. So let's say right? They're still on this old frequency. They still are fat. They have beliefs, they have the attention, they have the focus of fat, but they have to first change the inner, right? They haven't changed the inner first. So if you don't change the inner, if you don't change you, it all comes back to you. Tie everything back to you, right? This person, the frequency is just you. You are a frequency. Now, the old frequency, right, is an entity. It's what you want to get away from. It's not your desired reality. This is your desired reality, the new frequency, okay? It's you. It's you. That's it. Now, the old frequency is an entity. It doesn't want to die. Entities do not want to die. Just like you. You don't want to die. You're an entity. So, this old frequency, in a way, kind of sabotages you, right? Let's say, right, again, with this person going to the gym. They say, okay, I have to go, or this person getting in shape. Let's say, okay, I have to go to the gym. I have to eat healthy. I have to do this, I have to do that. You see this a lot with New Year's resolutions. Now, everyone says everyone has a goal, let's say, of getting in shape for their New Year's resolution. Why do they fail? Because they haven't changed their inner state. They haven't changed themselves. They haven't changed you. All ties back to you. And so, even though they're doing all the right actions, they're going to the gym, they're eating healthy, they're doing cardio, it doesn't matter. Because they are still their old frequency. They haven't changed themselves. They haven't changed their mental state. And that also gets into physical plane, spiritual plane, mental plane, which I'll get into really quickly. First, you have to change your mental, and then you have to do the physical action. So a lot of people think that physical action equals results. No. Right? Going to the gym, right? Why do people fail their New Year's resolution? Most people do fail their New Year's resolution because they take the physical action, even though it's the right physical action, they're not in the right mental state. So if you're in the right mental state, then you could do the right physical action. Remember, I was talking about the intuition, I was talking about the mental nudges, and though that intuition, that mental nudges will make you do certain things, which is the right action. First, you have to get in the right state, mental state. You have to get into the right mental state. It's all you, right? It's all you. Now, how do you do this? Now, this also gets back into some good habits, right? Some manifestation habits. I said meditation was good. Now, simple step process that I do, I've learned it from a book. I learned it from Neuro Knowledge on YouTube. Highly recommend Neuro Knowledge, Nero Knowledge on YouTube. Highly recommend you watch his videos. Please watch his videos. He's much better than me. So, what was I gonna say? Yeah, how can you change your mental first so that you could achieve the physical, right? So changing your mental, right? A lot of people say it's affirmations. No, it's visualizations. No, it's meditation. No, it's this, it's that, it's that. No. Now this video, remember what this video is about? It's about you. It's about you. Now, what you believe will work, will work. And what I mean by this. So, I'm sure a lot of people have heard of affirmations. I'm sure a lot of people have heard of visualizations. Now, don't worry, I'm going to give you the technique on what works for me personally, and then you could try yourself. And so that's what also comes down with conviction, right? Conviction is part of your frequency. Conviction is confidence. It's you know it will work, right? If you know something will work, you expect something, right? You'll get it, okay? So how can you achieve, or how can you manifest? You have to, for me, right? Not have to, okay? For me, I like doing visualizations, and I also like doing walking meditations. Now, I'll get into that. It's kind of not really a walking I don't know. I'll get into that, all right? So first, visualizations. You want to be in a meditative, sleepy, drowsy state. I've got this from many books. The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. Highly recommend you read that. Got it from Parallel Universes of Self. Got it from Neuro Knowledge. It works probably the best, okay? So, meditative, sleepy state. Why do you have to get into a meditative, sleepy state? Because that gives you direct access to your subconscious mind. Now, your subconscious mind basically creates your reality. Whatever you tell yourself is what goes to your subconscious mind, right? This also gets to self-worth. If you tell yourself you're not worthy, you're not going to be worthy. You have to believe, you have to say, I am worthy, right? And that I am worthy goes straight to your subconscious mind. And you don't even understand, you manifest poorly, you manifest bad things to you unconsciously, right? Let's get into this, all right? Before I get into the techniques, let me ramble a little bit, but when you say, let's say, I am tired go straight to your subconscious mind, and your subconscious mind's like, oh shit, yeah, I guess he's tired today, and he's just gonna be tired today. Or you say, I am unlucky, right? These are affirmations. Like, you're unconsciously saying, I am unlucky, and then you are pretty much manifesting that upon yourself. And you're unconsciously manifesting bad things. So if you switch, right, you become aware, you decide, I am aware, and then you switch, and you actually start manifesting for good, saying, I am lucky, saying, I am not tired, I'm energetic today, I'm feeling so good today. It all switches. And why, I'll explain the subconscious mind, right? You have a conscious mind and you have a subconscious mind. And your subconscious mind manifests, right? And it has your imagination, and your conscious mind is logical, right? If you're solving a math problem, you're using your conscious, you are mostly using your conscious mind throughout the day. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, but a lot of people tune out their subconscious, and they cannot do that. Now, your subconscious is pretty much the womb of your reality, right? It's where your reality is created. Now, subconscious, right, it doesn't reason. So your logical mind reasons, because it's logical. Your subconscious mind doesn't reason. So when you say, I am tired, go straight to your subconscious mind. Or when you say, I am not tired, it also goes straight to your subconscious mind. It's like planting a seed from your logical mind to your subconscious, right? You plant that seed. You say, I am tired, and you plant that seed in your subconscious, and then you're tired that day. Also, this could be with work. Like, Einstein solved a lot of his problems with, right, by first of all, like, trying to figure out the problem with his logical mind, and then he would go on a walk, and I'll talk about like walking meditation. He'll go on a walk, kind of get his mind off it, let his subconscious mind, because the logical mind planted the seed in the subconscious of the problem he was trying to solve. Then he went on a walk, and then he would solve the problem, because your subconscious mind actually is working on that problem for him. Now, I just went on a huge rant, okay? I was talking about the visualization technique. This is a technique I like to use. Then I'll get back onto you, right? But this is very important, right? The technique, it's pretty much creates your reality, okay? So the technique you need to use, right? I mentioned you need to get into a sleepy, meditative state so you can have access to your subconscious mind, because you have to be sleepy, drowsy, and your subconscious mind is more awake, right? Your subconscious mind is, so like, why do you dream at night? Because you're in a certain brainwave state where your subconscious mind is active. And so when you're in a sleepy, drowsy state and meditative state, then your subconscious mind is going to be present. And so when your subconscious mind is present, you then go into visualizations. Now, these visualizations should just come to you, right? So this is the first step, meditative state, sleepy, drowsy, okay? Second step is you actually know. The first step is you have to know what you want. You have to know what you desire. Let's say I desire money. So first you have to very clearly state what you want. Right? I desire money. How am I going to get money? Maybe it's from a job. Maybe it's from posting TikTok videos. I don't know. It's for everyone. Clearly state what you want and maybe how you're going to get it as well. Okay. Number 2, meditative sleepy state. This could take 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes until you're fully relaxed, until your body feels heavy, until your conscious mind slows down, which is also like when your thoughts slow down and you're just peace and you're quiet and your body feels heavy and you're at peace and relaxation, okay? Number 2, or that was number 2. Number 3 is you're gonna kind of shift your focus. You're gonna bring up very lightly. You're gonna bring up like, okay, I desire this. I desire health. I desire like gym gains, right? Or I desire money. And you're gonna bring it up, and then your subconscious mind is going to kind of paint a picture, right? And just let it happen. It's natural, okay? It's natural, it's easy, it will happen. And your subconscious mind makes a picture, let's say, of you getting rich, and let's say, I don't know, you sell coffee mugs to get rich, and it's you selling a coffee mug to someone else. That's just the picture that your mind creates. And let's say now you're in like observer mode, okay? This is what he calls it in a book. There are also other techniques. This is one I like, right? Again, you have to do your own research. This is the one I like, so I'm just gonna go over really quickly. Then you could do your own research with books, with ChatGPT, I don't give a shit, with neuro knowledge. So, right, we get into that sleepy state and we don't really think of, but the picture comes to us in our mind. And then you have to enter that viewpoint. right? So imagination and your subconscious mind is the womb to your reality. So your brain can't tell the difference between imagination and reality. Now, you have to be able to give yourself the emotion of what you would feel or what you think you would feel in your desired reality. Because, write this down. You are not chasing money. You're not chasing health, physical health. You're not chasing a nice body. You're not chasing a six-pack. You're chasing a feeling. It comes down to a feeling. Now, this feeling is a lack of fulfillment, right? This feeling you are chasing because you think that money will bring you happiness. You think that money will bring you security. It's only you. Only you could bring that. Like, why do some people think that money buys happiness? Why do some people that think that, money brings happiness, but then you get to this old rich guy that has all the money in the world but he's not happy. And it's because he has to make himself happy. The external cannot control you. Reality cannot control you. This goes back to the bomb example. It all relates, okay? It all relates. If you let reality control you, you're fucked. You're fucked. Because for a second, boom, you're full of fear. You get the money, you feel happy for 10 seconds. And then you kind of start, you're like, oh, it fades away. Fades away. Think about a goal you accomplished. And you're like, oh, I've been trying to do this for so long now. I've been trying to hit $10,000. I've been trying to get a six-pack for so long. I finally got it, and then it's normal now. And then you're on to chasing the next thing. Why? Because you didn't give it to yourself internally. So this visualization technique gives it to yourself internally, right? You create it for yourself. You create the emotion for yourself. Emotion is the largest shareholder of your frequency. Write that down. Emotion is the language of the subconscious. It creates your reality. So, right, this like I was saying before with the bomb example, the perception projection loop, and this also gets into you unconsciously manifesting. If you are angry, if you just are an angry person, there are just some angry people, or maybe there are boring people, maybe there are dull people, maybe there are people that depress people. Let's go with the example, or sad people. Let's go with the example of you're angry. You're angry all the time. And when you're angry all the time, things find you so that you can be angry about. So here's an example, right? Let's say you're just angry, okay? There's, right, the bomb example, okay? Go back to the bomb example. Let's say you're constantly fearful, and then a bomb goes off, and you're in fear. Again, right? Fear brings fear. But let's say you are grateful, right? And the bomb goes off, and you're like, it didn't hit me, I'm so grateful. And gratitude brings gratitude. So your perception on certain things, so if you only perceive things with optimism, with gratitude, with positive emotions, the positive emotions will find you and manifest into your reality. Hopefully that makes sense, because that is great. I've been ranting, I've been spitting, hopefully you've been writing down. I need to go back to what I was talking about. I also mentioned walking meditation before, which is really just me going outside, walking. Again, another good habit that you can implement, which is just walking. And maybe I like to kind of bring my attention to maybe problems I face throughout the day, or things that I could do better, or my goals, and what I desire, and I'll think about it. I will manifest about it, It's your preference, okay? You could either walk, you could meditate, you could do both, you could visualize, you could affirm, anything. You have to find what works for you. Again, this video is about you. It's only about you. Now, I just covered some of the steps that I would take to create my own reality and manifest it. However, again, this video is about you. It's about yourself. Now, here are I'm gonna give you spit out to you some light bulb moments, all right? This is what really lit up for me. So, I'm gonna get into pretty much the law of polarity, okay, and how it relates to you. So, essentially, right, there are dualities of certain words, like happy, sad, fearful and brave, and those that gets into the law of polarity. And this also gets into for you, right? So there's self-punishment, and then there's also self-forgiveness, right? Those are the same thing. So self-punishment, self-forgiveness are the same thing. Okay, now this is law of polarity. Okay, so write this down. I'll get into how does that make sense, right? How is self-punishment and self-forgiveness the same thing? I'm looking at my notes, all right? Self-punishment, self-forgiveness, same thing. I just repeated that. Holy shit, I just repeated that like 5 times. Stay with me. Well, how are they the same thing, right? How are they the same? There's the same energy. Write it down. Same energy. So just like how ice and steam are the same, they're both water. However, they're different forms. So self-forgiveness and self-punishment are the same energy, different forms, right? Because opposites, they're the same thing. That's what you have to realize. So instead of punishing yourself, which right now, think of this, okay? This is a light bulb moment, all right? How often do you forgive yourself? Do you ever forgive yourself for things? If you can't forgive yourself for things, it's almost like a burden. It's a burden it's gonna weigh you down. Right, self-punishment. So this also gets into self-improvement habits. This is huge for self-improvement because a lot of the time with self-improvement, people will beat themselves up when they don't do like a good habit or like a habit, or let's say they fall back into their old self. They fall back into a bad habit. Maybe they scroll on TikTok, they watch porn, and that is the whole reason why you're in this loop. You're in this bad loop. Every time you do this action, you beat yourself up about it, and it changes your mood. You're in a bad mood, and then you're in this loop, and it's like a neuroscience thing. I'm not a neuroscientist, I can't explain it very well, but it's something like triggers your brain, and when you kind of negatively, when you beat yourself up for doing a bad habit, it triggers your brain to actually want it and crave it more. That's all you need to know. I can't even explain any deeper on that. I'm not a neuroscientist. But every time you beat yourself up about something, you want it more. So let's say you're stopping TikTok, right? You're stop scrolling on TikTok, you stop scrolling on YouTube. So, because those are bad habits, right? So, let's say, but after a week, you're really craving it, maybe you had a bad day, and then you just find yourself scrolling on TikTok. It just happens. It's like, fuck, I'm not supposed to do that. And you're gonna beat yourself about it. But no, forgive yourself. You went a week without it. That's great. That's improvement, right? It's self-improvement. You improved. That's what you did. You improved. Now, instead of a week, go for 2 weeks now. And then maybe in 2 weeks, you might have a little slip up. Don't beat yourself. Don't beat yourself up about it. And then keep forgiving yourself for it. And it will come, right? Forgive yourself, okay? So this also gets into perception projection, which I was talking about before. So when you get back, let's say, think back to a day when you got back a test from school. Let's say you got a 90 on this test. I love this example. Let's say you got a 90 on this test. What's the first thing you would do? You would say, what did I get wrong? You would flip to the page on what you got wrong, and you'd be like, I got this wrong. Are you serious? Or you made a stupid mistake. And you're like, oh my God, I'm so stupid. Why would I make that mistake? But you got a 90. You got a 90. And then you're the first thing you look for is your mistake. And that's also like how the school system sets us up for life, right? Look at our mistakes. Look at our failures. Our failures are bad. This also gets in what's a failure and a win, right? Polarity. Failures and wins are the same thing. They're the same thing. Failures do not exist. Illusions. Failures are illusions. Only look at the wins. Forgive yourself. That is huge, all right? Do not punish yourself. If you find yourself punished for yourself, don't even punish yourself for that. Forgive yourself for that, right? Don't punish yourself. It will create your brain to actually want it more, all right? That's it. Don't punish yourself. Now, next one, self-criticism, self-praise. Again, this also goes in with self-punishment, right? If you criticize yourself like, oh, why did I do that stupid mistake on a test? That's criticism to yourself. How often do you praise yourself? So this is something that I started doing actually, where a lot of the time, like I'm taking notes. Maybe I'm taking notes on a book. I'm taking notes on a YouTube video, whatever. So just like you're taking notes on this video, hopefully. And then you have some extra space, like a lot, like the way I take notes is I will fill up every single, I'll fill up every single space on the paper. I don't really leave much room. This is how I take notes. I don't know. But a lot of the time, like sometimes like I'll have very little room, right? And I'll say, this is what I'll write down. Ready? Write it down with me. Self-praise. Good job, Alex. How often do you say that to yourself? Right? Because you are the source of your happiness. You are the source of your emotions. You control your emotions. You have the control of your emotions. Now, when I write down that, good job, Alex. Good job. I'm praising myself. I'm like, yeah, I'm doing good. I'm writing my notes. I'm taking notes in this video. I'm improving. I'm saying, good job, Alex. Good job. Pat yourself on the back. Because if you don't do it, then other people will. And if you get controlled by other people, right? The whole premise is you cannot get controlled by reality. Other people, you can't control you, right? Because if other people control you, they control you, right? You can't, the only person that controls your emotions is you. Oh, fuck. The only person that controls your emotions is you. You cannot let the external control you. When you let the external control you, that's what's bad, right? Because there are highs and lows, okay? Now, recently, right, if you don't know, I day trade, right? Day trading is a big passion of mine, make money, whatever. So recently I had a huge accomplishment, and the thing was, if I let reality, right, control my emotions on that accomplishment, I was feeling great, I was feeling on top of the world. What happens? What happens is that that accomplishment disappeared, right? I'm not gonna bore you with the trading terms, I'm not gonna go too much into detail, but then the high, right? I got a high. I was like, oh, I'm great. I'm finally doing this. I'm getting to my desired reality. Then, if the universe, if reality could raise you up, it could raise you down. It could put you down just as fast as it could raise you up. That's huge. All right. So don't get controlled by the external. Only the internal. Only you can control your reality. You control your reality. You control your emotions. You control. I also believe I covered the polarity between self-worth and self-worthlessness. Now, again, it's also gets into the ceiling, the energetic ceiling. So I think I covered it a little bit, but I don't think I covered it in too much detail. So pretty much like when you self-worth is like what you know you deserve, right? And so if you know that you don't deserve $1 million, you're like, okay, I don't know if I'm working hard enough, right? A belief, working hard doesn't necessarily get you to, it's just a belief. If you believe in something will get you there and you're not doing it, then you can't get there. So it doesn't necessarily take hard work, that's a belief. So there's one guy that worked hard to get rich, right? The only truth, write this down, write this down. The only truths in your subconscious mind, wait, I have it on my wall. There's no truths in reality other than what the subconscious mind accepts as true, right? Because again, your subconscious mind does not reason. So if one person thinks hard work will get them to their desired reality, then it will. If one person thinks there's no hard work does not exist, just a little bit of work here and there, 1-2 hours a day, will get them to their desired reality, then it will. Because you have to believe it to be true, and then you have to act on it, right? That's it. Now, with this, so it's called the energetic ceiling, right? So if you don't believe you deserve your desired reality, every time maybe you'll get close, and then boing, you'll hit a ceiling, and then you'll dip off. Just like me with that trading scenario where I was on a high, then on a low. And that's just what you have to be aware of. And you have to be aware of this energetic ceiling. All right, so this is actually great. This is really good. So actually, so with the energetic ceiling, I want to go a little more in depth on this. So what you believe deserve actually comes from your expectations, comes from like your past, right? So let's say this is a relationship example, okay? So let's say you're only in bad relationships and toxic relationships in the past. That's it. That's what you attract. That's the only thing your subconscious mind knows because you have experienced. It all comes from experiences. not expectations. I say expectations. It comes from experiences. Okay, so you only experience toxic relationships. So your subconscious mind, you only attract toxic relationships. Okay, so when you try to attract a good relationship, again, you'll hit that ceiling and you'll dip down. You can't attract a good relationship. Like, let's say a good guy comes your way or a good girl comes your way, and you can't see that they're a good person. You actually just see the negative, right? Perception, projection, right? If you only see the negative, you're only accustomed to toxicity. You will only see the toxicity. You won't see. That's it. Really, that's it, right? And so, how do you change your past? How can you change what you experience? Some people are like, okay, yeah, I experienced that. How do I change it? Again, visualizations. That's how you change it. Meditative state, right? What I said before, meditative state, visualize you, instead of having a toxic relationship, visualize a good relationship. That's it. And then, so you change that experience. And again, your subconscious mind, your mind can't tell the difference between reality and imagination. So if you deeply imagine a relationship and change your past, instead of having a toxic one, you deeply imagine, you deeply visualize it to be a good one, then good ones will come your way. And that's how you change and experience it, by just imagining a different past. There's also the polarity of self-disrespect and self-respect. Now, I believe I talked about this one already. I mean, you can't, so if you indulge, right? Let's say you indulge on, you shouldn't be scrolling TikTok, but you scroll TikTok. Or you shouldn't be eating junk food, but you eat junk food. That's indulgence, that's self-disrespect. So if you respect yourself, you listen to yourself, right? And when you listen to yourself, when you respect yourself, right, the truths, and the listening to yourself with the intuition, that's what I was saying before, and the mental nudges. And you can't, if you don't respect yourself, you're not gonna listen to yourself. You don't respect yourself. I mean, it's just as simple as that. You need to respect yourself, and then reality will respect you, right? It's as simple as that. I just keep repeating it. That's really it. That's all there is to it. Actually, so self-indulgence actually is with self-discipline, the polarity of self-discipline. So self-indulgence, right, polarity, the opposite is self-discipline, right? And I talked about discipline, right, with the good habits. Now, discipline, most important thing, because that's why I talked about self-improvement so much in this video. Most important thing, discipline, right? Because discipline leads to self-confidence. You trust yourself, you're confident within your abilities, which then leads to conviction, which means you can get what you want, and then it leads to manifestation. Conviction, manifestation. That's really it. And honestly, self-discipline is based off your standards, right? So if you don't have a problem with scrolling TikTok, and it's obvious that you shouldn't be scrolling TikTok, but maybe let's say you don't have a problem. Okay, here's a good one. So watching movies, it's not necessarily a good source of dopamine, okay? However, I feel that this is what I've changed recently, right? Because you can't just keep expecting a different result without change. So for me, I was on this grind. And I feel like I never really took a break, right? And so now I'm watching movies, okay? Now, I like watching movies. It's pretty much just it's where you get your cheap I don't know. It's just what I'm trying, all right? Maybe don't even take this advice, I don't know. But, right, I don't have necessarily a problem with watching movies. It was never a problem in the past. It was always scrolling on TikTok. It was watching porn. Or eating junk food. Those were the habits that I had a problem with. But I don't have a problem with watching movies. So it's not necessarily self-indulgence, because I don't have a problem with it. An hour a day, that's fine. If you don't have a problem with scrolling TikTok, go ahead, scroll TikTok if you want. It's really what you shouldn't do. If you know you shouldn't scroll TikTok, I know I shouldn't scroll TikTok. That I don't. I listen to myself, I'm disciplined. But I'm okay, I can watch a movie. I'm fine with watching a movie. If you're fine with it, go ahead, do it. It's alright, do it. However, if it's really again, with TikTok, fucking you up, right? Dopamine. I don't know. That's it. That's really it. Discipline, right? If it's based on your standards, that's what you have to get away from that, based on your own standards. Here's 2 extra little things about yourself and self-love. Okay, so solitude. Solitude is very important, right? Being alone. Now, when you're in solitude, I'm very good alone. I mean, I've been alone this whole video. I've been talking to myself this whole video. I'm fine with it. Some people can't. Some people have to, right, be attached to TikTok. Some people have to be with someone else. Some people have to be with friends. And I'm not saying don't be alone all the time. Just be comfortable alone, because that's how you know you love yourself. Solitude shows that you are comfortable with yourself. You're comfortable with your mind. You love your mind. You love yourself. Right? So practice solitude. Solitude also very important with the work. I mean, you're not always going to be with people. People could drag you down and all that. Also, they could drag you up. But solitude, right? And here's another thing. Be the love that you seek. Also, be the source of maybe what you desire. If you desire money, right? Something you could do, maybe tip, maybe donate. And when you become the source, that shows abundance. It shows that you're worthy of it. Like, become the source, okay? Become the source. If you want money, if you want love, maybe show love to others, right? And then when you show love to others, you love yourself. Be the source. Just a few more points. Here's a quote that I really like, okay? So this also relates to self-worth. Again, everything in this video is about you. You create your own reality. You will never be given more by the universe than you believe you deserve. Now, again, this talks about that deserving, that energetic ceiling. So if you believe that you deserve $1 million, and you'll get $1 million, right? If you believe you deserve it, you have to believe you deserve it first. Again, and I talked about this with the imagination, right? With the experiences and all that. You could rewind back to the video, but that's very important. Another thing, I was talking about wins and losses, right? Wins and losses are polarities. I was talking about the polarities, all right? And wins and losses are the same thing. There's no such thing as losses, like failures. Wins, only wins. Now, I love this quote so much. Amazing. The wise are the same in pleasure and in pain. The wise are the same in pleasure and in pain. What does this mean, right? Remember when I said I felt like I was on top of the world after accomplishing a trading goal of mine, and I felt really good, and reality made me feel really good? Can't be like that. I have to feel really good and it just brought me right back down. So the thing with the wise are the same in pleasure and in pain. Because when I was up here, I was on top of the world, but I had to be expecting it. I had to be the same. And on the low swing, I'm like, okay, yeah, they got me, right? This also ties in something I didn't actually cover when I was talking about old frequency and new frequency. So the new frequency, I actually did cover that it's an entity that doesn't want to die, or the old frequency, it's an entity, it doesn't want to die. And so when you get into this new frequency as your desired reality, your old frequency is going to kind of sabotage you a little bit, all right? And a lot of the time your old frequency plays a bunch of tricks, okay? Now some of these tricks is maybe presenting you with bad things, right? And reality can't control you. Presenting you bad things with reality. Because in the past, you let reality control you. Now, after watching this video, you're not going to let that happen anymore. However, your old frequency knows this. Your old frequency knows that reality has control over you. And so it will present you things that are seemingly very bad. Let's say you affirm that I am a millionaire, but then you look at your bank account and you have $0. And your old frequency will show you that you have $0, but you cannot let that change your inner. You cannot let that get your confidence. That is a trap, right? Your old frequency will have a lot of traps, and pretty much what you just have to look out for, you have to be aware. And it's like, it's really like, how do I simplify the traps? Like, it'll present you with illusions, right? It'll present you with reality. Maybe it'll just kind of throw things at you like you need to be perfect all the time. Like, no, you don't need to be perfect all the time. Like, things happen, like shit happens. And overthinking comes from a lot of, you'll become more aware. Also have other videos about this, and go check out Near Knowledge on YouTube, right? I will make more videos about this in the past. I meant in the future, in the past. But no. Next, I think this is the last point I actually want to cover, which is wanting is a confession of what you don't have. Love that quote again. Right, I have it up on my wall. Wanting is a confession of what you do not have. Right? When you tell us, like when you say you want, logically you say, I want this. That tells the subconscious mind you don't have it, because you can't want what you already have. So if you say I want $1 million, you can't expect to get $1 million because, right, your subconscious mind doesn't reason. It doesn't know. Your subconscious mind just says, okay, he doesn't have $1 million. He shouldn't get $1 million. You can't get what you want, right? You can't just expect that. So instead of saying I want, say I have. And you have to say I have $1 million, even though there's like $0 in your bank account. I have $1 million, right? And again, align. So most importantly, right, align with that frequency. I mentioned frequency before. Also with the offense and defense, and offense, I mentioned with visualizations, right? There's manifestation, offense. Manifestation is visualizations. You creating reality. Don't look into reality. Defense, like protect yourself from the old frequency. Just some points, quick little points, just honestly what manifestation is, right? Self-love, self-respect, love yourself. You are reality. There's no difference between you and reality. You create your own world, universe. Yeah, thank you guys. That's it.